Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a HEXBLADE Arcane Archer Fighter build guide in Baldur's Gate 3. Now you may be thinking, these classes don't have a lot of synergy because it's charisma based, but this is great for anyone that wants to use charisma. So if you're the face of your party, this allows you to invest in your charisma stat and get some benefits out of it. There's actually some cool synergies here that I'll be breaking down, but we're first going to start off with the fighter because this will give us heavy armor proficiency. In addition, it'll also give us constitution saving throw proficiency, which we wouldn't get if we started with the Warlock. Now, for our fighting style, I'd recommend defense for the +1 armor class. It's just going to be the most bang for your buck, especially early game, but it scales well over time. And for our ability scores, we're actually going to go around dexterity. The reason we're building around dexterity is our arcane arrow shots will actually all use dexterity as its attack roll, so we want to have that high. We also want to build around our charisma as well, since that's going to be a big focus of one, our Warlock spell slots, but also for the face rolls. So something like this can work well for our ability scores. So going with 16 dexterity, 14 constitution, 10 intelligence wisdom, and 16 charisma. You can also take some points into the strength if you wanted to. There's also some other cool ways we can go about this, like you can take the strength club early game and just wear that in your offhand, and that'll give you 19 strength, so you don't have to worry about that. You can use strength potions if you want to, or we can just focus, because our weapon attack rolls will use charisma and dexterity for the bow, so this actually works out very well. Now I'll cover gear options as well as show this off in combat. I'm actually impressed with how strong this is. So at level 2 here, we get action surge. You know the deal, action surge is very strong, and this gives us the ability to do an extra action. Now at level 3, we can choose the arcane archer. This gives us 4 arcane arrows. Again, these use dexterity for their attack rolls. I've had a lot of people commenting on my videos saying, no, these use intelligence. They actually don't use intelligence. They just use dexterity. So we get to pick a cantrip. Guidance can be okay. It's really not a big deal for the cantrip, but the arcane arrows, piercing shot, the seeking arrow, and the burst arrow are the best 3 that I would say at early game. Piercing arrow lets you hit straight through enemies, and it deals a good amount of damage because you can line this up to hit many enemies. Seeking arrow is like magic missile. It'll find its target and do additional force damage. In the bursting arrow, this does 2d6 of force damage, and it hits in a large area of effect, almost like a fireball. So that can be really good for just overall damage output. Now, as we get through the levels, level 4 will give us a feat where we're going to use an ability score improvement on our dexterity. We want to boost up our dexterity for better armor class early on, and then we can invest into our charisma a little bit later on. At level 5, we get the extra attack. As you know, it's very strong. So now you got a big power spike. And at level 6, this is when we can actually add in the Warlock now. And we're going to go with the HEXBLADE, obviously. So this gives us a few different spell choices. We also get the Bind Hex weapon. So this applies to our weapon, makes it use charisma for its attack rolls, which if you're using a strength-based weapon, this will be a little higher. The thing is with this, whenever you attack, you have a chance to apply the HEXBLADE's curse. And we also get the HEXBLADE's curse here, which will give you bonus damage, plus 5 bonus damage, and a 5% increased critical hit chance, which are pretty nice. So we also get to choose a couple spells here. I think that the shield spell is actually really nice because per short rest, you'll have 2 chances to save yourself. This will increase your armor class by 5 for the turn, which pretty actually good because we're going to have a high armor class regardless. So this can make us pretty much unhittable. Wrathful Smite can be okay. This does use up your bonus actions. Just be mindful of that. We'll typically probably save it for shield. Armor of Agathis can be okay too. The damage that you deal with Armor of Agathis isn't very high though. Hex is another choice you could apply because we don't have very many concentrations, and every time you deal damage, you'll do additional 1d6 necrotic, which can be nice. But even just keeping the Wrathful Smite just gives us something. We're typically want to save it for shield though. And we get to choose cantrips. We're obviously going with the Eldritch Blast. Blade Ward can be kind of decent if you can set it up before combat, but Booming Blade is also really nice. So we're going to take Booming Blade and Eldritch Blast. Bone Chill is also a decent choice there because it'll stop the target from receiving healing, which could be helpful in a pinch. We could continue here and take Devil's Sight and focus on darkness, but I actually think the best way, I've tested out various builds, I think the best way to go is keep going fighter. And I'll show you where we can kind of synergize this. So at level 6, we get another increase to our ability scores. I'd recommend mixing dexterity right now because this is going to be us focusing on bow attacks. At level 7, we get the magic arrow. Our range attacks will overcome any resistances to physical damage type. And we have the curving shot. So when you miss an attack with a magical range attack, you can use a bonus action to attack the next closest enemy. And we also get a more arcane arrow shots and another arcane arrow choice. Beguiling arrow here can be nice to make a target charmed, but also shadow arrow can make them blinded. So it's your choice there between those two. I think the blindness is a little bit more effective. Once we get to level 8, this is when we can use an ability score improvement on our charisma. There's also the choice of going with the crossbow expert. We can focus on mostly close range attacks, because when we go this route, it's actually pretty crazy what we can do. But we're going to focus on taking up charisma just a little bit higher, better face rolls, and going to be better weapon attack rolls as well. And then level 10, we get Indomitable, reroll our saving throws. Kind of nice. Level 10 gives us another Arcane Arrow and another choice of Arcane Arrow shot. Banishing Arrow can be alright too, but I think Grasping Arrow is pretty decent because it'll make the target take a damage whenever it moves around. So that can be good for higher health targets that are going to be moving a lot. And at level 11, this is when we get the improved extra attack. This is the reason I wanted to go 11-1. 3 bow attacks is much better than if we were to split it. And especially if we would have went 5 levels of the Warlock and then 7 levels of the Arcane Archer, we would only be able to do melee attacks 3 times per turn. So it becomes a little bit confusing because then you can bow attack twice and then range attack. Now, we do miss out on feats, so we don't get, if you didn't take the crossbow expert, we wouldn't go that route. But this works because we got lots of different ways we can go about this. We got 30 armor class. So that's even without shield or haste. If we have haste, that's 32, and then with shield, it's 37. We become unhittable at that point. Helm of Baldur will give us a better armor class. I don't know why I have that weird bug happening here. Cloak of Protection will give us better armor class. Armor of Agility will give us best armor class. However, we can also go with the Ballast Armor because this will make it so that the enemies are weak to piercing damage. And when they're weak to piercing damage, our bow attacks are going to have extra damage. We don't have crossbow expert, but piercing arrow can still hit. So we're going to roll with that. For maximum damage, for maximum defense, you'd go with the other armor. The Legacy of the Master gives a +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls, so we're much more likely to hit with the weapons. Although Helldust Gloves can be nice, this adds fire damage to our attacks, but I actually think the Legacy of the Masters work a little bit better here. And the Evasive Shoes give us better armor class as well, although you can go with like Disintegrating Nightwalkers to move around a little bit more freely, or you can also go with like the Boots of Stormy Clamor to stack up Reverberation on the enemy if you got the Illithid ability Drain. Now, Fowler Alluve is a great early game weapon. I would recommend that for this build. However, once we get to later levels, Rhapsody is a pretty nice one. This will give us better other bonuses, and we can also go with some strength-based weapons like Sethin, the axe that makes us a spiritual great axe as well. Now, it really depends on what type of build. Since we got piercing damage on, something like the Crimson Mischief can be really good because this will do additional 14 damage, which is really nice. But I actually think if we want to min-max and go with the strongest possible build, Sharp Spear of the Evening is going to be the best choice because this would use strength normally, but whenever, or I guess this is versatile, would use your dexterity as well. But what we want out of this is using this weapon, we're able to set up darkness and hide out in it, and then we can shoot our arrows from that darkness. So that ends up being probably the strongest version of this. We'd also go with like the Sacred Star if you wanted to. Or I guess this versatile. It's not versatile, just one. I got confused with finesse, my bad. It's not a finesse weapon, so this does use our strength. I think this is the best version because we get the Shadow Soaked Blade, which lets us set up darkness, and then we also get a darkness spell from it. If you're not playing a drow, I typically play drow, so I got my own darkness spell here, but also for the bow, Gaunter Mail is going to be the best choice for bows, but you can even go, since we're going to be stealthing, we can go with the Hellfire Hand Crossbows. These actually become really crazy when we're hidden, so that's a nice choice there. Early game, if you have strength potions, or as I mentioned, the Club of Strength, you can apply this. It'll give us a strength modifier onto our weapon attacks, which actually becomes very strong because we can add like a +8 with strength potions. So if we're going with the stealth version of this, we're going to go with these two. Gaunter Mail is another good choice, or the Titan String Bow, so we can roll with something like that. And for rings, we got Ring of Protection and the Killer Sweetheart, and also Amulet of Greater Health for 147 health. So I'll show you what this looks like in actual combat, because it's actually very strong. Before we get things started, we're always going to bind our Hex weapons. This allows it to apply the Hexblade's Curse, and then it'll use Charisma for its attack rolls. The Hexblade's Curse is nice because you get a little extra damage in on it, and that can mean all the difference whenever you're fighting. So what I'm going to show off here, I guess we'll get things started off with just a... let's go with a... I guess we get Eldritch Blast to do a little extra damage. But we also got the Edge of Darkness. Now, what's nice about this is a weapon attack from the Sharp Spear of the Evening. It's going to set up darkness for us, so this will be very effective because whenever we have this darkness set up, you can see there, combat didn't actually start because they can't see us. We're in the darkness. So you can actually just take out targets now because I don't know why that didn't do any damage at all to them, but they don't know what's going on. Stealth checks are stealthing. So yeah, they're taking damage. They're all panicking. They don't know what's going on. It's actually pretty funny. This is the perfect time for a fireball to drop. We're literally just standing on the edge of it, and they have no idea what's going on. So that's the beauty of darkness and using something like that. I feel like this fits thematically as well. So I'll also just go ahead there, critical hit them. Stealth successful. I'll walk out of the darkness so that they actually can start, I guess. There we go. We got our combat started now. And we're going to hide out in our darkness. But we have a very powerful ability to do the piercing arrow, which you can see there. We can hit 5 targets with the piercing arrow right now. That's pretty strong. So, boom. That took out one of them. That was nice. I guess we'll follow that up with another piercing arrow. You could also line this up to do another, to hit more targets. So that could be pretty fun. If we're able to get into position, I guess we can. So we'll just go with another piercing arrow to right here. But you can also move a little bit closer and even go into your darkness, because this won't give you disadvantage on your attacks. So then we'll go with the piercing arrow. That should take out most of them. That target is very low on its health. But that's fine because we got bonus action attacks as well. So we'll go after these targets next. I'll go to the edge of darkness and we'll blast them right to the face. Boom, big jump shot, took out both of them. Yeah, this is pretty crazy. And then we got our bonus action ability to attack there, and we rolled a critical hit. That's pretty crazy. I don't know what is going on to allow me to do this much devastation. But we also got ourselves action surge. So yeah, it gets even crazier. We could hide and then hide out in the darkness and use the extra bonus that we get from this, but we also got Booming Blade too as a fun cantrip that we can just drop on them. So we take out this target here, and I think that's everyone that's nearby. The rest of them are all hiding back there, so I might have to move a little bit to be able to hit them. Yeah, would have to, which is fine. We can go out of our comfort zone here to shoot off some arrows. Boom. That didn't do as much damage as I wanted it to do, but we also got the bursting arrow there, which if you can hit multiple targets with it, it's worth doing, but unfortunately can't hit multiple with that. So we can even just go with a blinding arrow there and just apply that to the enemy. So boom, critical miss, of course, and we'll hunker back to our darkness where we're safe. So as you'll see, we go back to darkness. They don't know what to do. Sometimes they'll throw weapons. There's a weird bug they will throw at you, but they won't do normal weapon attacks. You can see there, they'll just do throwing attacks, which is fine because they likely don't have the stats to be able to hit us with our pretty decent armor class. We're sitting at 29 right now with the haste, really good. And then we sonic backlash there, a little extra damage. We want to have them lined up as much as possible. Unfortunately, they knew that I wanted them lined up, so they didn't line up. But we can go with the bursting arrow. If it'll hit on target, it won't do its damage to those because they're blocked by the wall. But oh, it did end up doing the damage. Ooh, that's fine. So I guess we'll just continue up with some bursting arrows, and we have the ability to drain there. So again, reverberation would actually work well there. And we'll finish off with another bursting arrow. The nice thing about having haste and this is we get 6 attacks, so we become very strong, as you can see. And we got a lot of arcane arrows, so we may as well use them. But we also got the seeking arrows too, so once this target is downed, we're going to use the seeking arrow to find this target. So that's the beauty of this. We can just hide in the darkness. We don't have to think much about anything. This can also be achieved by the if you take the Warlock's Devil Sight, you don't have to use this weapon. There's also a helmet that we can use. I'm using the helmet Baldur, but if you have the Steel Watcher helmet, you can also hide it there. Pretty crazy, as you can see. We set up darkness with 1 attack and then just rip them apart with our bow attacks. We can apply the Hexblade's Curse and you get a chance to do that, but our main weapon will also apply it if we do a melee attack. We got a lot of options. And if we're getting attacked defensively, we also have the shield spell. So not only is this very offensive, it's also very defensive. I think this is a pretty cool combination. There may be some people that don't like this combination, but I think it actually works out pretty well. You're only missing a feat. You get the ability to apply the Hexblade's Curse, and you can use Charisma on a fighter. That's kind of cool. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button too if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.